So lately I've been thinking about comedy a lot and how it relates to offense and how it relates to marginalized groups. And I've come to the conclusion that the best at this and the best philosophy can be expressed by Kids in the Hall, which is a 5-person Canadian comedy troupe. They had a show in the 90s, they do live tours and stuff still sometimes, and from their inception, they dressed as women. Not all the time, but often they dressed as women and played female characters. The jokes in these contexts are not that the men are dressed as women. They have funny voices. None of them make particularly attractive women, except maybe Dave Foley. But they're telling jokes, they're having comedic sketches based on female characters interacting with other female characters or male characters or what have you. The joke is never that they are men dressed as women. And this is an important distinction, I think. It's never done like in a Martin Lawrence Big Mama kind of way. Like, if the joke is that it's a man dressed as a woman, you need a better joke. Recently I tweeted, if your joke is potentially offensive, cool. If your joke is that the joke is potentially offensive, you need a better joke. And that's how I feel toward all kinds of marginalized groups being turned into comedy. So gay men are often a source of comedy in, like, Adam Sandler movies. Just the fact that gay men exist. The existence of two men trying to become married, for instance, is the plot of an entire movie. And the comedy is derived from two heterosexual men trying to be married. That's no good for me. A powerful example of how to do it right came a few months ago in a Half in the Bag review by Red Letter Media. One of the men, Mike, says to Jay, one of the other men, how are you doing, Jay? And Jay says, I've been good. I'm thinking about getting rid of my beard. Clearly meaning he wants to shave. And Mike says, oh, I didn't know you have a beard. What's her name? That's hilarious to me. It's classically well-written joke where there's a subversion of your expectation. You think that he's talking about shaving. Mike thinks that he's talking about a woman who maintains his heterosexual identity by pretending to be his, significant other. And that joke wouldn't exist without Jay, or the character that Jay plays, who's also named Jay, being presumed to be gay. I don't know if Jay's actually gay. That doesn't matter. The joke is not that Jay is gay. The joke is not that this character is gay, or that people think this character is gay. That's got nothing to do with it. The nature of the joke exists because it's a straight man interacting with a presumed gay man, and there's wordplay in there. The wordplay is the joke. And I think that that's a really important distinction in comedy. I think it's really important that the joke is not just the existence of a marginalized group. I think the same goes for, like, racial jokes. There are misunderstandings between different races. There are different cultures, and the collision of two different cultures can create misunderstandings that are funny. But if the joke is just that these two cultures are colliding, I just don't buy into it. It's not funny to me. And, so I think of Kids in the Hall and the way they dressed as women in order to deliver jokes from female characters, not in order to make people laugh at the silliness of men dressed as women. And that's not something that's easy to do. It's not a simple thing to write good jokes for characters who aren't part of the culture or gender or sexuality or whatever identity, a separate identity from the writer and from the actor. That it's difficult. It requires acting. It requires thoughtful writing. And so it's not super common because it's hard. But it's really valuable. I think that it's fantastic. And I would love to see more of that. I don't know that we ever will see that predominate. But that's what I like. That's how I like to see, sort of majority groups writing comedy that involves minority groups. And yeah, those are my thoughts for this morning. And I will see you later.